A woman awakens on a remote planet, discovering the brutal murder of her space station crew. Her quest for answers triggers a horrifying series of events. Get ready to relive the adventure as we recap the story of horror film today. Ash, production year 2025. Rhea woke up with a start, her heart pounding. The dream had been bad, really bad. People screaming, things she didn't want to remember. But now she was awake, and somehow that wasn't much better. She was on the floor of her cabin, which was weird because she didn't remember falling. Her body ached, new cuts stinging when she moved. The station's AI buzzed overhead, its voice glitchy, saying something about power failures and reboots. She grabbed her flashlight, the beam shaky in her hand. The halls were too quiet, just the hum of broken systems. Then she saw the blood, dark streaks smeared along the floor. One of the crew was slumped against the wall, motionless. A knife stuck out from their chest. Rhea pulled it free without thinking, her fingers numb. Further down, she found another body. She didn't know what was happening, but she knew she had to keep moving. She finally makes it to the control hub and gets the power back on. The airlock door groans open, and there it is, just endless blackness below with ash floating down like some kind of weird snow. Then she sees it, a body bag lying out there in the gloom, and something else too, a shadow moving just beyond the reach of her lantern light. It copies her movements for a second before disappearing into the dark. Rhea steps closer to the edge, not realizing how close she is to slipping right off. That's when she sees it, the same eerie glow from her nightmares, burning against the sky. Her head spins, and suddenly she can't breathe right. The air out here is poison. She stumbles back toward the hatch, tripping over her own feet before she finally slams it shut. The AI's voice crackles through the speakers, telling her what she already knows. She's running out of air. The darkness wraps around Rhea like a heavy blanket, and somewhere in it, a voice murmurs her name. It's faint, almost lost in the silence. Her mind drags her back to the chaos, her crew torn apart, the face of someone she cared about now twisted and wrong. Then, just as suddenly, a different memory pushes through. The crew sitting together, plates full, laughing about something stupid. They were excited then, talking about the planet like it held answers. The air had been almost good enough to breathe without gear, which felt like a small miracle. Rhea presses the med patch against her skin, the cool sting pulling her back to the present. The shower's steam clouds the room, and for a moment it's just her and the water. But when she steps out, the towel rough against her skin, she catches movement, shapes that aren't really there, faces that flicker and vanish. Later, in one of the cabins, she finds a notebook. The pages are crammed with sketches of the station, notes scribbled in tight handwriting. And there, tucked between the pages, photos of herself, standing in the greenhouse tending to plants that shouldn't have survived this long. A loud thud from Zone 1 makes Rhea turn her head. Someone's banging on the airlock. She tightens her grip on the knife as a figure in a suit stumbles into the hallway. Without thinking, she slams him down and cracks his helmet open. The man chokes out his name, Brian. It takes her a second to place him, someone from that hazy memory she barely remembers. He says he picked up her distress signal after another crew member lost it and started attacking everyone. Brian leads her past the wreckage, and that's when they notice Clark isn't there. He pulls out a tiny medical droid that patches up Rhea's wounds while she sits there, numb. Brian talks about Earth's last shot. 7 ships sent out, 6 gone. Hers is the only one left, drifting around a planet they call Ash, Co. I-442, the last chance for anyone to make it. The drone's findings show Rhea's brain is swollen from some kind of hard hit to the head. That's why she can't remember anything. It bugs her, not knowing who she is. But then she finds out she signed up for this space mission herself, something about uncovering cosmic secrets. Later, the door to her room keeps jamming open. Through that narrow gap, dark shapes seem to move, and for a second she swears she sees something awful staring back at her. She shuts her eyes tight, concentrating until the door finally clicks shut. When it's time to deal with the bodies, Rhea and Brian haul them to the disposal unit. Air is running dangerously low. Brian says they should forget about looking for Clark and just focus on making the orbital meetup in 12 hours. But Rhea's nerves are shot. Those flickering faces keep messing with her head and she snaps, saying she needs to lie down. Back in that room, the one stained with blood, she grabs a pair of scissors. Then it hits her, a memory so sharp it hurts. Herself, driving those same scissors into someone she knew. She feels completely overwhelmed and rushes back to her room, quickly slapping on another patch before collapsing to the floor. After pulling herself together, Rhea mutters an apology to Brian. Outside, a violent sandstorm pounds against the station walls. Her visions don't stop and Brian drops the bombshell. She'd been involved with one of the crew. Then the alarms go off. The hull's been compromised and oxygen levels are dropping fast. They grab their helmets and head toward the breach, only to find signs that someone else had already been there. Rhea hears this weird clicking noise coming from a tight passage. She takes off her helmet just to squeeze through, cutting off any way to talk. Inside, she finds a loose panel making the sound, then suddenly feels a hand grab her. But it's just another hallucination. She manages to patch up the breach and stumbles back to the main area, where she tells Brian her theory, that Clark brought some kind of pathogen on board, and that's what's been driving the crew insane. Brian's voice cracks as he yells, his words tight with panic. Their air supply is running low, and the next chance to leave won't come for hours. He keeps telling her to think about getting out, not waiting for help. Rhea wanders through the empty crew quarters, trying to push the fear away. She thinks of Kevin, the way he used to play those old songs for her. For a second, she's back in that forest with him, the two of them staring at that strange, glowing hole in the ground. Then the memory twists. Suddenly she's the one holding the knife and he's bleeding out in front of her. Her hands shake as she tries to calm down. That's when she notices the flickering screen near a broken drone. She hooks it up to the medbot and shaky footage plays. The landing team finding a crack in the earth, walls lined with metal. The air wasn't right, too clean, like someone had tried to change it. Then everything went wrong. Light burst from the tunnel, throwing one of them to the ground. Smoke and fire erupted everywhere at once. Brian cuts in, and Rhea calls him out for keeping secrets. He just says the station went dark and comms failed. She admits seeing herself kill the crew in these weird visions, but Brian won't budge. They can't miss that shuttle. Their job is to get word back to Earth about the terraforming thing. A little later, Brian comes back with new patches. He slaps on two because the old ones aren't working as well. When he leaves, Rhea rips one off and, bam, suddenly she's back in some awful memory fighting for her life. Scissors, blood, over and over until the other person stops moving. She stumbles, head spinning, but the visions won't let her rest. She's sure the infection took everyone. Then she hears something. Thinking it's Brian, she turns, but it's Clark suited up. Panicking, she snatches a welding tool and bolts into the vent. That's when she sees Brian's body, burned black. Clark chased Rhea through the narrow ducts, their fight turning brutal. Metal screeched as they smashed into walls, sparks lighting up the dark spaces between them. That moment in the shower kept flashing in Rhea's head, how she'd set it up to flood Clark's suit, water filling the seams until it was too late. She tried to fix it, called for help, but the medbot just hovered uselessly. Clark was gone, and the last thing she must have thought was that Rhea was the real monster here. Time was running out. Rhea suited up, her hands unsteady as she went back for Clark's body. The shuttle was a mess, blood smeared on the controls, everything out of place. The computer wouldn't connect to the ship in orbit, just blank screens and static. She had no choice but to return to the station, patching up what she could before grabbing Brian's remains. The medbot scanned him, and then came the impossible report. Brian had been dead for days. That couldn't be right. She just talked to him. The voices in her head keep whispering blame, but then the AI picks up something strange, something alive that shouldn't be there. Rhea grips her welding gun, watching the shadow in the lab twist into something familiar. It looks like Brian, but it isn't. This isn't just some virus. It's something else, something that takes over people. She remembers how it all started, the crew finding that thing crawling through the station, cutting off communications. Brian came down from orbit and then he was just gone. And then there was the sample she took, that weird living tech that wouldn't stay contained. It got loose, found its way into someone's head. That night, she and Kevin fought it together, trying to save their friend. But Kevin went down, and in the panic, she threw a scalpel. The thing left his body, slipped into hers through the cut on her head. The patches kept her from remembering, kept the thing quiet. But now it's waking up. Rhea finally snaps out of it and rips off those weird patches messing with her head. The AI's voice cuts in, calm but urgent, saying oxygen's almost gone. Some medbot slides a creepy metal arm toward her, trying to pull that thing out of her skull. Her heart stops for a second, just long enough to see the parasite skitter free. Then it does something worse. Brian's body jerks back to life, and suddenly they're fighting all over again. She grabs a screwdriver off the floor and stabs at the thing's head. A hard kick sends it flying. No time to think. She yanks on her suit, aims her welding torch at a canister, and the whole lab goes up in flames. The heat swallows the creature whole. No turning back now. Rhea bolts for the shuttle as fire spreads behind her. The engines rumble to life, shaking the whole ship as she punches through Ash's atmosphere. Up ahead, the orbital station drifts into view. She adjusts course, gripping the controls. Just her, the ship, and whatever's left of hope, cutting through the smoke and fire below. And showing this story ends here. Appreciate a subscribe and please remember to like. Thanks for watching.